Hey guys, happy Tuesday. This is my favorite day of the week, so I wanted to get on here and make you guys a video. I'm going to show you guys how to make beautiful, hydrated looking skin in the winter. So we are tackling winter skin. First, I did my full skin prep that I've done for you guys. If you've never seen me do that, there is a video. If you just go check out my IGTV, you can see the skincare products that I use for skin prep. And what I'm going to do right now though with you guys is I'm going to prime the skin. And I'm going to use the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Primer, the hydrating. I put about this much in my hand. Some people would probably consider that pretty generous, but it's winter, you know? So we gotta hydrate that skin. So this is how I apply it on myself. I just emulsify it in my hands and I press it and rub it all over the skin gently, but also at the same time with a firm touch. I'm just putting this all right into my skin. The reason I'm using primer, which I don't always use, especially on myself, is in the winter when our skin is just really porous and dry, moisturizer sometimes isn't enough. So if you just go ahead and then you add in a hydrating primer, you will help lock in some of that moisturizer that you put on with the primer. And it's another hydrating element on top of it. So it's just like you're just serving your skin all the things, you know? So what we're going to do first for our flawless winter skin is we're going to make a little foundation concoction. I love satin skin, especially in the winter. So pretty. You know, I don't like my skin all the way matte because I like a little glow, but satin is like that perfect finish that's happy medium between the two. And I'm going to use this Chanel. I can never say it properly, so I'm not even going to say it, but I'm going to make sure you guys can see it. And then I'm using color BD21, and I'm going to mix in some of my water weight from MAC, which I love. I will tell you, I do not wear water weight on its own, but I love it as an additive to other foundations, especially because I have a drier skin. So for those of you who are like me and you have a drier skin, just having a bottle of water weight handy, which for me, I'm using color NC20. This one also runs light. So almost whatever color you are in the other MAC Studio Fix products, like your compact, or if you use Studio Fix Fluid, you will be a darker shade in water weight because it does run light, which is really nice for the winter too, since we're all just running a little light in general in the winter. And then, so I put about that much on my hand of the Chanel, and then I'm just adding a few droplets of the water weight. Now, I do add a little more water weight when I'm using the Chanel because this Chanel formula in this color is pretty thick. It's kind of moussey, so I like to really kind of thin it out to get that flawless look. And I will be applying with a beauty blender. The beauty blender is clean and moist, so that is really important to note. You always get a better application when your sponge or brush is completely clean. I'm just gonna beat this into the skin. It always gets a little skippy around my nose, this formula, for some reason. I'm not sure what that's all about, but you know, after you go through and you keep blending and working it out, it all gets covered eventually. All right, I'm gonna take this. I lightly touch my forehead because my forehead doesn't have a lot of discoloration like the rest of my face, nor does it have blemishes. Therefore, I don't go crazy with makeup on my forehead. And in winter, I do tend to go a little heavier with my coverage. I just think that satin flawless look just goes so well. It's like a winter beauty, you know? So really try to achieve that in the winter. And then in the summer, I'm a lot lighter in makeup application and focus more on like bronzers and highlighters versus foundation. Okay, I'm just gonna go crazy today and add just a tad more. Yes, yes. That's exactly what I was going for. This flawless, not too dewy, but also not matte, hence the satin. Now I'm going to conceal, and I will be using a rather matte concealer. This is the 24 Hour Studio Fix from MAC. I'm a huge fan of this concealer. And it's weird because I do have a drier skin, but for some reason, as long as I do my skin prep with my under eye hydration, this concealer just works for me. And you'll find that with certain products. Like you typically don't use a certain formula, but just the way they make that product, whatever brand, it works great for your skin. And I'm being a little messy, can be messy. And now I'm gonna go in with the other side of the Beauty Blender, just wringing that out a touch more. And I'm gonna just get all up in my eye space, doing the same exact thing I just did. And then I like to take the other side and even everything out at the bottom. Go back over the nose. I feel like there's so much power in blending when it comes to the face makeup. I don't really blend a whole lot when it comes to eyeshadow. I don't spend a lot of time doing that because I try to place the shadows appropriately to begin with so that I don't have to do a lot of blending. But when it comes to foundation, because you want it to look like skin, you really just want it to like adhere to the skin. So I think, you know, a little time spent on blending it won't go unnoticed. I'm just adding a little bit back in like my troughs of under my eye. I have a really dark under eye circle. So I like to just, you know, highlight that, brighten it up a bit. Now we are ready to set this beautiful foundation we have laid down for the premises of our makeup application. I'm going to be using the MAC Mineralized Collection Light Plus. You see me use this friend all the time. Often I'll use translucent first. Today I'm not in the mood. I'm going to take a clean fluffy blending brush. This is a Jaclyn Hill one. And I'm just going to lightly get under this eye, like so. I also like to go around the corners of my nose with the smaller brush, the same one I use under the eye, because this area can be a little hard to get into, those little nooks. So this brush makes that a lot easier. And now let's move on to the face. I'm going to use my Too Faced powder brush. I love this brush. It's so great for setting the face. Just gonna, and then like on this part of the skin, I'm gonna kind of stipple it in like so. More like patting, not so much wiping. I just don't wanna move a lot of the product that I did. Now let's move on to our bronzer. I'm gonna be using what I almost always use on myself, and that's Give Me Sun. Another great bronzer that's similar in pigment and texture, and honestly I do like a little bit more and I need to pick one up, is the Laura Mercier bronzer in 02. Now I'm going to be really light-handed with my bronzer because, like I said, this is all about a winter beauty look. Therefore, we don't want to be overly sun-kissed. You can also like use your powder brush in this stage, which I like to do too, kind of use them in conjunction, and that keeps it really soft. For this one, I'm just using a random fluffy drugstore brush that I bought because I just found it to be intriguing, and I have had it for, I don't know, maybe 7 years. How crazy is that? And I just love it. It's like my go-to for myself. I don't use it on my clients because it's too silly, but just for myself. And then just kind of go back blending. I'm having a little bit of a harder time on my right side than my left. My left side just went on like a dream. The exact light to darkness that I wanted. And this one, the placement's a little more tough. And you know what? How often is that not the case? I know you all can relate with that. And you can just correct all that with your brush. And when I'm correcting, I don't really add much more product to the brush. I feel like whatever was left on it and just the texture of it alone will help it do its thing. Okay, now we need blush. So let me grab, I'm gonna actually use, this I usually use for foundation. But wait, let me see, what do I have in here? I usually use this brush for foundation. This is a MAC 127, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it for blush because, I don't know, I think it might be kind of nice. We wanna be a winter beauty, so let's do something very soft, very light, very pale. None other than Dame from MAC. So you can see mine's very abused or very loved, however you want to look at it. So I'm just going to stick the brush in it like this, pick up a little bit of pigment, and then hit this area right here on my cheek. And work it up into the area where the bronzer is. Once again, I'm doing this in very little strokes, and I'm kind of stippling like I did the powder because I'm not wanting to like move a whole lot of the work I've done and create more work. So important. This is a really light color, so you kind of have to go in a couple times to get the look you want, but I'd rather layer than go in and it be just too dark or too bright. And here I am just dusting a little powder to help keep this area squared off and defined. Now let's highlight. I'm not gonna go as crazy like bronzy that I normally do with highlight, being that it's winter. So I think the perfect winter highlight is honestly Extra by Jaclyn Hill. And I'm using one of Morphe's brushes in M510. This brush is like a dream for highlight. Like, it's not like the typical one you see people use. This is something that has come about literally just trial and error, just being, you know, experimenting. You get what I mean. So I'm using very little product because this, the name of it completely describes the product. It is Extra. So if you don't want to be over the top, you want to be very light about how you apply it. I really like to get right above my lip, little tip of my nose. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to just hit this with a little blush so the highlight doesn't take over too much. Kind of adding it back just a little. And layering the products and like bringing them all together, that's what really creates like that blended, seamless look at the end. Okay, you guys. This is my winter beauty skin. Please let me know what you all think, if you like it, and I'd love to hear from you about it. Bye.